I mean, it could just be me, but I kind of like a movie that has some good guys.
Injection you got. It's a nanite explosive. It's the size of a rice grain, but it's powerful as a hand grenade. You disobey me, you die. You try to escape, you die. You otherwise irritate or vex me, and guess what? You die.
I'm known to be quite vexing. I'm just forewarning you.
Lady, shut up! This is the deal. You're going somewhere very bad to do something that'll get you killed. But until that happens, you're my problem. So was that like a pep talk? Yeah, those pep talks.
Suicide Squad is the latest DC comic book property to make it to the big screen. This one about a group of villains put together to do some good in the world. Well, they're forced to. Can anybody force you to like this movie? Here's 5 things you might want to know about Suicide Squad. Let me just start by saying, I don't think this movie is near as bad as people are making it out to be. Yes, lower your expectations. It's not a great movie, but there are some things to like here. And let's start with this as number 1. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is absolutely astonishing. She plays this role so well, and you hardly even recognize that it's her. She so envelops who this character is. The sociopathic, gleaming-eyed person who sees everything around her as a game to be played and to do it gleefully. In the relationship with the Joker, all that stuff, I think she makes work somehow, and I really enjoyed her character. And that's not to take anything away from the other performances. There are some other pretty good performances here. Will Smith, for one, is really good as Deadshot. But I have to say, she steals the show, and it's the best thing about the movie for me. One of the other positive things about this movie that I think is worth bringing up is the visual aesthetic. I think this movie is absolutely gorgeous, and not just in a, wow, look at that, that's visually stunning and beautiful kind of way, which is part of it. Also in a fresh, and I'm not sure I've seen it done that way, kind of way. Some of the color choices and the color schemes and the way they're interacting and the choices they make about the way they're painting this world very literally, I find fascinating and interesting. And even if there's not a lot mentally to engage you in this story, and we'll get there in a second, there is a lot visually here, and that is important. So let's start getting into the negative stuff, and there is a lot of it, and it really does bring the movie down. As visually stimulating as this movie is, it is equally non-mentally stimulating. The story is just nothing, and there's no life to this. Now, I understand nihilism is something you can show and do, and villains, trying to do good. I totally get that stuff, but you can have life even in a movie that is full of darkness. You can tell, and you've heard, that they tried to add a few jokes here or there, kind of lighten up the mood. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't need jokes. I need joy. Like, I need something to grab onto that I can root for and invest my heart in. And there's none of that life here, none of that joy here, and it just brings everything down. It's almost like the story of this movie is trying to disconnect you from the film. Not only is there no one to root for, but you also don't get to see yourself in the context of this movie. What I mean by that is humanity is almost left completely out of the equation. We don't understand enough about what the villains are doing to understand how it impacts us. We don't understand enough about what the villain good guys are doing to understand why it's important to us. There's a reason in superhero movies you see them save the little guy or the normal guy, because that's us. We're the normal guy. There's a reason Spider-Man hangs on to the train and keeps it from going off the tracks, because we're in the train. Where are we in this movie? We're nowhere, and we're just left feeling disconnected. And finally, the other way we're disconnected from this film, nothing is earned. Nothing here feels like you've invested enough in it that it actually pays off in any way. This movie is so full of backstory because we're getting introduced to probably a dozen different characters that we're supposed to care about and figure out who they are. The first half hour, a quarter of this film, is in legitimate prologue backstory stuff. That really weighs it down. There's so much time on backstory that the story has no actual stakes itself because there's not enough time to invest in what's going on. And when you don't have something to invest in, you're left disconnected from the overall story. Overall, I feel like Suicide Squad had a real potential to be a world we'd want to visit, even with great visuals and some good performances. They just dropped the ball on so much of the story stuff that it can't earn any more than a C- for me. Thanks for checking out this Your Movie Friend review. We'll get to the best ever challenge here in a bit. Want to let you know, if you want to support the channel, you can click the little I up there for the little info button. There's other reviews there as well as a way to support. If you want to follow me on social media, we can hang out there, have a little two-way conversation on Twitter or Facebook or Periscope or whatever you do. Just search for Aaron Dicer, AARONDICER. And if you do the podcast thing, you should check out SiftPop, SiftPop. We do a podcast every week, have different people on chatting about this week's Suicide Squad. We also talked a little bit about ratings, not like rated R, but like the tomato meter and different ways that things are rated and our interaction with those things. It was a good conversation. I really enjoyed it. All right, on to the best ever challenge. This is where you name the best movie ever in a particular category and then also try to identify my choice. What is the best movie ever where the bad guys try to do good? My choice, my clue, is someone you wouldn't necessarily think of as a bad guy, probably more of a rogue, but he's definitely in it for himself. Certainly not in it for the hokey religions and that kind of stuff. By the way, it would be the first one, because in the others, he's not a bad guy anymore. But in the first one, you could kind of call him a bad guy. Is it obvious yet? Take a guess at mine in the comments. First person to get it right does get a point. Leave your choice there as well. As always, here's 5 extra seconds to hit the subscribe logo. Just click it right down in this corner. You'll never miss another review, unless you choose to.